Okay, good evening, everyone. Good evening. I'm waiting. There's somebody walking down the hallway. Oh, but it's Corey, so we'll get started without Corey. I'm like, should we wait for the person walking down the hallway? We will not. Welcome to our Gahanna Energy Plus Town Hall conversation. I'm Laurie Jadwin, and I have the honor of serving as your mayor. I'd like to thank you for taking time out of your evening to spend some time with us and to learn more about Gahanna Energy Plus, which is the city's new energy aggregation program. You may have also heard it referred to as our Community Choice Aggregation Program. This program is one that really had its genesis more than 2 decades ago when legislation was passed back in 2000. You're going to hear a little bit more about that in a minute. But it really came to life maybe 8 months ago. I think it was early February, perhaps, maybe give or take a month, when our Gahanna City Council expressed an interest in exploring aggregation. And at that point, my administrative staff and I got to work researching and evaluating options on aggregation programs, looking at what other municipalities were doing. We then went to City Council and presented options to them, which included joining SOPEC, which Council eventually voted to do as well. Those meetings actually are available. You can go back and watch if you want to know how we got to where we are today. Those meetings are available on the website. We'll talk a little bit about that as well. But legislative action was taken by council that included joining Power a Clean Future Ohio, as well as the aforementioned SOPEC, Sustainable Ohio Power Energy Council, who council voted and selected as our energy aggregator. By taking swift action to launch Gahanna Energy Plus this year, we're delivering on a promise, a collective promise between council and the administration that prioritizes the well-being and affordability for our residents. We want to make sure that our residents have the opportunity to pursue clean energy without sacrificing or compromising costs, and we think we've been able to accomplish that with this program. This evening, we have several people who will be talking to you tonight about Gahanna Energy Plus. We have our council member, Stephen Renner, who really was the one who brought this to our attention, pushed for us to join PCFO. So he's going to talk to you a little bit about, again, the background of how we got to where we are today, why council believed that this program was important for our community, as well as the administration. You'll then hear from our Senior Director of Operations, Kevin Schultz, who is also moonlighting as our IT guy tonight. Kevin will talk to you about really the details of Gahanna Energy Plus. How it works, how it doesn't work, what your next steps are. Some of you may have received an opt-out letter in the mail. I've not received mine yet. You got yours? There we go. Oh, did you get the postcard? Maybe?
Well, I'm going to price the point of order real quickly right now. What gives the city of Gahanna the right to put me onto a program that I did not know about?
Well, we will talk about that in just a minute, sir. I'll be happy to. Just give me 1 second. Thank you. So also with us tonight, we have Luke Selfridge from SOPEC. Luke is the Executive Director of SOPEC, and Steve Harris, who is the Central Ohio Director for SOPEC. Also with us this evening, standing in the back, is Corey Weibensinger. Corey is our Senior Deputy Director of Administrative Services, and both Corey and Kevin really did a lot of the heavy lifting with regard to the research of programs and helping to get this program off the ground in conjunction with council. So now I'd like to invite our council member, Stephen Renner, to the podium to talk to you a little bit about how we got to where we are today and the legislation that led to this.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, everybody. I first actually want to take a second to actually recognize that one of my colleagues, Councilman Trenton Weaver, is actually here in the audience, and also let you know that Councilwoman Marissa Bowers wanted to be here and also was a very active partner in actually helping us to get there. So first, the legislative history, and perhaps this is actually going to answer your question. The state of Ohio actually, we should all be very proud that we're residents of Ohio because they actually did it right. They actually have passed the process, the laws that are necessary in order for municipalities to actually turn around and be able to pass on savings to our residents. So in 1999, they passed what was then called SB 3, and it was the electrical deregulation, but it was, right now, we're just focusing on the generation costs. In your bills, and you'll get into, Kevin will definitely get into a lot of that, Your bill is actually separated into three parts: generation, transmission, and distribution. So tonight we're actually talking about, and we're excited to talk about the generation portion. Then later, council in 2000 passed the necessary legislation, and then we also had an issue that the residents actually get to vote on, and so the residents actually voted, just to answer your question, this point, to be able to actually create, be able to actually go out, advertise, get and secure aggregators that can actually put you on an opt-out program.
What gives the city the right to switch my account from my personal account to your aggregation plan without my permission?
And I recognize you and I understand your point, but the voters in 2000, and actually in 2000, actually voted successful passage of issue 27. Then, more recently, what we did is on council, as the mayor alluded to, we understood that we needed to actually do an aggregation program. But there are lots of aggregators out there, and we didn't understand really the mechanics of actually how to do that. So we hired, by legislation, the Power Clean Future Ohio, PCFO. And through that, we recognized that we actually had also a consensus on council that we wanted to actually reduce carbon emissions. We wanted to, at the same time, promote clean energy and reducing your electrical costs. And so we wondered, is there a ability, a program to be able to do that? And then we also pledged that we are going to, as a city, work towards that carbon reduction to 2015 levels. So, but also PCFO was able to help us put together an RFI to be able to properly go out to and bid, look for aggregators. We did do that. We published it. We had 7 responses. The administration worked diligently going through that matrix and understanding who is the better out of the 7. On council, we decided to actually go with their recommendation, and that was joining SOPEC. So what you're going to hear about SOPEC is that they are a special type of aggregator. They are a council governance, and what that simply means for you is that it's just the same as having the council elected and be responsive to you. This organization actually operates the same way, and they're very responsive, and they are responsive to the people. So they provide the aggregation programming. SOPEC also does something special that not many aggregators actually do. They actually provide the community energy planning and the community grant program. So they are an aggregator that not only helps us with our goals about renewable energy and carbon reduction goals, but they also provide assistance on community grants and what have you. And they're also sustainability focused. And so you're going to hear a lot more about that. Thank you.
So I got to double as the IT guy also, so I don't know that this video is going to play without me going over to my little podium over there. We'll see. It's not. We're going to play a 1-minute video, and I'll be right back.
Tired of big utility companies deciding where your electricity comes from and how much it costs? It doesn't have to be that way. Here in Ohio, communities can take control of their energy future through community choice aggregation. Community choice aggregation is a program that provides local governments the opportunity to negotiate on behalf of their residents. This can result in lower electric rates for the entire community while prioritizing renewable energy sources. The energy is still delivered using the same power lines, but now you can ensure the source of your electricity aligns with local values and supports local jobs. Hundreds of communities across Ohio already use aggregation. If your community doesn't have an aggregation program yet, it's as simple as putting it to a vote. After that, local leaders are authorized to negotiate with energy providers to find the best deal. To learn more about community choice aggregation, visit poweracleanfuture.org/CCA.
So as Mr. Renner talked about, that's a video that was put together by one of the partners that we partnered with, Power a Future Clean Ohio. Sorry. Mayor, can you one page down on the keyboard there? You may have to click on the, you probably have to click on the right screen. Yep.
Tired
Page down on the keyboard.
of big utility companies deciding where your electricity comes from? And how much?
There's normally a tech person, but that used to be me. And now I get to stand here. So the goals of an aggregation program, right? So as some of the slides and Mr. Renner and the mayor had talked about, but what is an aggregation program and what are some of the goals, right? So the goal ultimately is to leverage the bargaining power of the pool of folks, the residents in this particular instance of the city of Gahanna, in order to purchase power from an aggregator at this particular point in time, which in essence gets us a much more competitive rate than what we would see from AEP Ohio themselves. Some of the goals that Mr. Renner had already talked about, but one of the goals of City Council was to secure sustainable energy sources in order to provide this energy. But then also ultimately to provide options to the residents as to who and where their power comes from. Clicking through some of these slides here. But what is an opt-out aggregation program, right? Mr. Renner had indicated that the Senate bill passed back in 1999 or 2000-ish, gave us the ability to create an opt-out energy aggregation program, which basically means that all eligible accounts go into the program, and then ultimately it is the choice of the resident in this particular instance to opt out of the program. About 65% of the residents here in the city of Gahanna and about 1,000 small businesses or so are eligible for this particular program. If you're purchasing power on your own, maybe you've gone to Apple's website, maybe you were approached by somebody in the supermarket, maybe you were approached by a solicitor at your front door and you signed up to have your energy supplied by somebody else, you are actually not opted into this particular program. You have the ability to opt into this program, but you're not automatically enrolled. So, but the choice ultimately remains with the customer, right? So everybody in the room, every resident of the city of Gahanna, even myself, I do live in Columbus, but I also have the ability to choose who my electrical supplier is, right? You guys have the choice to do nothing and automatically be entered into the program and receive the savings that a program that we'll end up seeing here in a couple minutes. You have the ability to go to the Apples website and select your own open market provider of energy. Or you can opt out of the program itself and be returned to the AEP Ohio standard rate offering if you so choose. So what are some of the key considerations here, right? It's at the customer's request, and they can request at any time to either be opted out of the program. In the window that we're currently in, we're in the first opt-out window. Some people have begun to receive the notice to opt out. Yes, sir, that's the notice. And we're in a 21-day window where folks have the ability to opt out. Once that 21-day window has expired, folks who may be purchasing electric in a different manner have the ability to also opt into the program as well, right? So that choice still remains open to the resident as to whether or not they want to join our program or opt out of our program and be returned to the rate, to the AEP Ohio rate. Some key questions that you want to keep in mind when you're doing this is, they're listed on the screen here, right? But is the supplier offering a fixed or variable rate? So if you folks were to go to Energy Ohio's website, the Apples to Apples website as they refer to it, and select your own supplier, you do want to know exactly what it is that you're purchasing, right? So are they offering a fixed or variable rate? What is that fixed or variable rate? What's the term of that rate or contract? And what is the current price to compare? If you're on the Apples to Apples website, it's very plain. It basically says that this is the price to compare, and is the rate that you're signing up for better or worse than this particular rate? And are there any early termination fees associated with this particular contract, right? One second, sir. If you were to wish to opt out of your particular energy supplier right now, if you were purchasing your own electric, you would want to call those folks and make sure that there was no quote-unquote penalty for opting out early. That is a key consideration as you guys begin to make your choices. So about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago at this particular point in time, we went and we set rates with our partners here at SOPEC, with our partners at SOPEC. One of the reasons in one of the meetings that I was facing the other direction chatting with council, but one of the things that we were talking about was when is the appropriate time to set a rate? And there was a lot of conversation around that. World events play very heavily into that, right? Just like gasoline prices, electrical rates, they fluctuate. They fluctuate with the market, so on and so forth. SOPEC keeps an eye on these things on a regular basis. And again, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, they came to us and they said, we've been testing the market, and the market has come back with a 6.445 cents for 100% clean energy for the next 6 months. And when I say the next 6 months, this program starts in December for your December billing cycle of 2024 and runs through June of your billing cycle for 2025. You'll notice there the second line, the second box, if you would, is the AEP Ohio standard rate offering. So the standard rate offering was just, they just auctioned the standard rate option, and AEP Ohio came back and they set their rate at 7.61 cents per kilowatt hour. So our program automatically saves that 1.2, 1.3 cents per kilowatt hour for every resident in the room. You also, as the bottom part and piece also indicates, you do have the ability to go out to the open market and solicit your own energy supplier and sign up with anybody there. When we did these rates a couple of weeks ago, we looked at the rates, and there was only one supplier who was offering a traditional energy supply that was less than the rate that we set at the 6.445 cents, just as a benchmark. That rate was slightly under 5 cents. I think it was 5.9. I meant to look today. Schedule didn't allow it, but I don't know that there's a better rate than the rate that's currently shown to you on the screen. Either one of those rates, whether it be the 100% clean energy or the traditional energy option that's shown. So as we advance through, right, we're showing an electric bill right now. The electric bill is redacted, for privacy purposes. This is of a Gahanna resident. What you're going to see here is page 1 on the left. It's technically page 3. My slide says it's page 2. My apologies for that. But this is your electric bill. Everybody can pull out their electric bill if you brought it with you. We'd be happy to look at it at the end. But this is generally speaking what your electric bill looks like, especially if you are in the standard rate offering with AEP Ohio currently. We're going to highlight a couple things. I'll point them out as we go. But you see the red circle up here on the pie chart. In that particular area of the bill, you are seeing the total consumption or usage for that particular month, and then you're seeing the total charge. That pie chart on the left-hand side of the screen, it's divided into two colors. As Mr. Renner indicated, you have the distribution side, which is the pink or purple side of the pie chart. That pie chart that reflects AEP Ohio's ability to get electric to your door, right? That takes care of the distribution system, the transformers, the lines, the poles, so on and so forth, as managed by AEP Ohio. Some of these things are reflected in other places on the bill. You'll notice the bar columns through the middle of the bill on page 1. That's reflective of your month-to-month usage over time. And then on the bottom of the bill on page 2, what's listed as page 2, and we'll zoom into this in a couple minutes here, but that indicates your total usage for the last 12 months and your average usage over those same 12 months. What's highlighted now on the screen is your supply charges. Those charges are reflective of the distribution charges for getting power to your front door. Those are AEP Ohio's charges. The charges that we are talking about are on the blue side of the, I'm sorry, one more highlight on the bill itself. If you were to add up those three values there that I just highlighted, those would add up to the amount of distribution charges in the purple box. If I can get through this, sir, and then add some questions, that would be great. Sir, if I could have just let me get through the slides, and then be plenty of opportunity for questions and answers. Thank you. You'll be heard in a couple seconds. So on the blue side of this chart here, you have the supply charges. The supply charges in this particular instance totaled of $100. I will highlight on the right-hand side of the bill where those $100 charge is also listed. This is the portion of the bill that this program impacts. You'll also notice the highlight on the right-hand side of the bill. That's where the bill discusses what the rate to compare is. This particular resident inside of the city of Gahanna was charged 7.6 cents per kilowatt hour for this particular bill, and that's where they get the $100 supply charge. As we continue to flip through, I'm going to zoom in on the total usage for the year. So the first column here, or the first slide, and I'm zooming into the specific section of the bill that details the 12-month usage and then the average monthly usage. Okay, when we begin to add these things up, the total 12-month usage was just under 13,000 kilowatts for the year. In economic terms, this resident would have paid $972.49 at the 7.6 cents per kilowatt hour. Under the Energy Plus program, this resident would have paid $823.61 to supply energy to their home. Same thing holds true on the second line of this particular chart, where they would have paid $81 on the 12-month average. This is just the average, or $68 on the same 12-month average, or the just under 1,100 kilowatts, just under 1,100 kilowatts per month on average. When we look at that in the lower section of the chart here, the 12-month savings, or the 12-month the 12-month savings is about $148.88 on the year. And then if you were looking at this in monthly terms, you're looking at about a $15 or $16 savings and a $12 savings on average. Okay, so for this particular bill, his charge was $100 for the month. This chart here is based on the averages. When I showed the slide before, or with just the bill, he was, I can actually go back to it and read it, he had consumed 1,320 kilowatts for that particular month, which is why it was more. Anybody who has electric heat in their home, and this is the only electric heat, and there's no natural gas on the property, obviously your electrical consumption for the month is a whole lot higher, especially in the winter months. So as you begin to see these savings, and as you begin to see how these rates work, let's say that you are using 4,000 kilowatts per month because you have electric heat throughout your home. Now you can basically take the savings that are on the screen there and multiply it by 4, because that's your monthly. That would then be your monthly savings. The more you consume, the more you save. Okay? Your percentages are the same. We had a session at 12 o'clock, and there was a woman who showed me her electric bill, and she used an astonishing 325 kilowatts. I don't know how she is capable of doing that, but that's what her bill reflected. And she said, well, I won't save that much because I don't use that much. But percentage-wise, she is saving just as much as somebody who uses the most amount of electric here inside of the city of Gahanna. So what's next, right? You guys have begun to receive opt-out letters. Opting out is very simple. You can take this particular sheet here. You can fill out the bottom portion of the sheet and fill it in and send it in. You can scan the QR code that's on the page 2 of this particular document, and you can opt out automatically online. Or you can call the 1-800 number and ask to be opted out and return to the AEP Ohio standard rate. Obviously, you still have the ability to go to Apples and purchase your own electrical supply from a commercial vendor if you so choose. The biggest takeaway here is that you need to do nothing in order to receive this particular rate from now, or December, I should say, until June of 2026. When June of 2026 returns or comes, 2025. Thank you. I'm saying 6. 2025. No sense in rushing. As we get closer to 2025, in June of 2025, we'll again convene with our SOPEC partners. We'll set another rate, and then another opt-out letter would end up going out in order for you to again choose as to whether or not you wanted to stay in our program or be returned to the standard rate, and or choose your own electrical supplier. One of the things that we'll also note too is that I'm sure everybody has read in the newspapers and such, but there's this electric capacity charge that is coming from AEP, which is going to see rates increase for everybody. So if you noted on I'll go back to this particular slide here, my rate slide. It'll just take me a second to get back there. You'll notice that this 7.61 cents per kilowatt hour is only the rate that's available from AEP Ohio from October 1st of this year to December 31st of this year. So if their rate changes and their rate goes up, our rate stays at that 6.445 cents per kilowatt until June of 2025. Yeah. It is the billing cycle, great question. It is the billing cycle for the month of June, the month of December when it starts, and then the month of June. Correct. So it is a 6-month term. As by way of example, we did go out, or SOPEC more appropriately did go out, and they did get us a contract price for a 17-month contract. And I want to say that price was much closer to 9 cents per kilowatt hour, in part because of these AEP capacity charges that are coming. So the market is reflective of, and the time and the brokerage is reflective of the market and the term of the market, so on and so forth. When we go back out in 6 months, or more appropriately, probably 5 months, for another rate, we will be going with many of SOPEC's other partners, other municipalities that also aggregate electric. So we won't just be aggregating electric from the 35,000 residents in the city of Gahanna. We'll be in a pool with many more, a much larger population in order to set the rate. So now when that happens, they'll provide us two rates. A pool rate for everybody that they're negotiating with, and just the city of Gahanna rate. And at that particular point in time, we'll have the ability to set a second rate. So I know everybody wants to get into what this means exactly for them and for their bill. So with that, less of me, more of you guys. We'll take some questions. Corey has a microphone. This session is being recorded, so we do ask that you use the microphone in order to ask your questions. This way, when we do post, we have the ability to, folks at home have the ability to hear what some of those questions are. So please just raise your hand. Corey will run around with the microphone and go from there.
My voice carries quite well. Now I'm going to ask you a question. How long have you been with the city of Gahanna?
I've worked for the city of Gahanna for 4 years now.
4 years?
Yes, sir.
Okay, question. Do you know who IGS Energy is?
I'm sure these folks know who IGS is.
You.
I do not.
Okay. 20 years ago, Gahanna entered into an aggregation program with IGS Energy and Columbia Gas. It was woefully managed, and many people's fuel bills went up 30%.
Our rate is guaranteed for 6 months.
Well, that was the line for that, too.
Sir, our rate is guaranteed for 6 months.
Okay, now question. This 1 penny difference, 1,000 kilowatts, it's $10 a month, plus or minus. Are you with me?
I'm with you.
Okay, now, as you're going into an aggregation program, right?
Yep.
Does AEP have the right to put a rider charge on your bill to recover the monies lost to this aggregation program? Yes, they do. So, why should I get on this when they're going to bill me for potentially the monies lost through this?
So this side of the ledger is the supply ledger, and it's not the distribution ledger or the additional charges that are reflected on the bill. And the $10 capacity charge that we're talking about. If the capacity charge goes up by 3 cents, as by way of your example, if it goes up 3 cents plus the cent that it's less than right now, now I'm saving $40 per month.
Right.
And I think you would agree that that's real money.
Now, here's my question, though. Is that rider fee going to eat up at $40 a month?
What AEP does on the distribution side, AEP Ohio does
Now,
on
that's
the,
not what I asked. What I asked,
I'm answering.
use words, rider fee, don't use what AEP says.
If AEP Ohio increases the rider fee on the distribution side of the bill, it will not eat up your savings on the supply side of the bill. They are 100% separate.
Okay, now question number 2. What if, say, here, when the billing cycle flips here in 6 months,
Yes, sir.
and the price of electricity magically goes down?
Magically, sure.
Do I get a rebate?
No,
And why not?
because you're part of the program here.
Guaranteeing me these rates. Shouldn't I get a rebate back if,
We're guaranteeing the rate for 6 months, and then when the term is about to expire, we will renegotiate rates through our friends with SOPEC, and then a new rate will be established.
now, okay,
That'll be market-driven. There's many other people in the room, sir.
market drive, there we go.
It is all market-driven. I mean, regardless if you're in our program or not, it's still the same. You're still bound by the same market forces.
So basically,
So, sir, let me, if I may, can we maybe move on to a couple other questions? Thank you.
entertain the lady, please.
Yes, my name is Donna Williams, and the gentleman was talking about a rider fee.
Yep.
Is that fee a fee that would be charged to individuals, or would that be included in the total, whatever AEP decides to do on the delivery charge side?
So bear with me 1 second. I'm going to try and highlight it here. I can't highlight it on my screen. I can get it highlighted to a certain degree, and you guys can look at your bills. I apologize at this one. So in the box that just appeared where you have on the right-hand side of the bill, and you have 3 charges that are highlighted, those add up to your distribution charges. The last charge on that line is the customer care fee, which is the rider fee I believe the gentleman is referring to, right? They have the ability, I would believe that AEP Ohio, from a company standpoint, has the ability to increase that rider fee on everybody, and that is charged across the board for every customer. So if they made it $12, everybody in the room is going to pay $12.
Okay.
And even me in the city of Columbus at that matter.
So it's not directed at any
Correct.
group of people individually?
100% not directed at any group of individuals. Folks here in the state of Ohio, as Mr. Renner said at the beginning of this particular presentation, have been aggregating and choosing their electrical supplier for nearly 2 decades now, right? So AEP Ohio is not in the business of pointing me out because I aggregate and giving you a break because you don't.
Okay. The second part of my question is on that delivery charge. Is that rate the same for every person, or is it based on what equipment I have in my house?
No, that is based on the delivery charges from AEP Ohio, the three that I have highlighted on the screen. Those are based on,
It's going to be based on rate class. So if you have a business that may be a higher, it's going to be on rate class. So most households are going to be in the same rate class. But if you have, let's say you have a business, let's say you have a pottery studio and use a ton of electricity for pottery, or a kitchen, it may be a lot higher because you're in a different rate class. But for most households, you're going to be in the same rate class.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Sharon Donahue, and I live in Gahanna. Several years ago, I don't even know how many, I signed up with a different company. And I started looking at my bills, and I am a budget customer. So I was looking at my bills, and suddenly it dawned on me that I'm paying more because I'm still paying AEP's budget plus whatever this other company is charging me. Now, why is that, how is that fair?
so likely what happened in that instance is you signed up for a specific term. Okay?
No, I didn't. No,
I-
sir. Now,
So on our program, I can only speak to our program. I can't speak to what maybe happened to you on another program. I know what's happened to me before where I've signed up on a specific term, the term has expired, and then the company has the ability to charge me basically what they want.
well,
So-
when I called AEP to try and figure this out, obviously nobody there knew anything.
Correct.
And they tried to the girl that I talked to from the company that I chose to, whatever you call it, we tried to talk with AEP and we couldn't. So there was no way that I was going to get out of paying all this money. So I just said, forget it, and that's it. And, if this is going to be the same way,
This is not going to be the same way, ma'am.
what's the use?
About all I can tell you,
Well, we'll see.
all I can
I wanna know
reassure
about
you is
this.
that we have fixed term. We have fixed term, and your ability to opt in and opt out of the program as many times as you like carry absolutely no fees. We will be completely and 100% upfront. I could show us the website here in a couple minutes, but the website has many of the same slides that we had on this. We've had numerous city council presentations where we've sat here. Those are all listed on our website. And we have been fully and 100% transparent with the resident as it relates to setting rates, so on and so forth. City council requires of that, and when I sit in that particular chair and present to them across the dais, we are absolutely not in the business of making money as it relates to this. The city of Gahanna receives zero financial benefit to us starting this program with SOPEC and AEP Energy.
Okay, well, that was my second question. If at some point in time I find out that by talking to one of my neighbors that, they've signed up for SOPEC and everything, and their bill has gone down, if I decide a year from now, okay, this looks like a good idea to me, is that going to cost me then to sign up?
You can opt in or opt out at any time, as many times as you like, at no charge.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Good evening. So I'm on an off-peak hot water heater with AEP. So
Say that, I'm sorry,
rate-
say that one more time.
I'm sorry.
Say that one more time.
I'm on an off-peak
Okay.
hot water tank program.
Thank you.
So my rate is low, much lower than what you're showing for the 7.6 cents.
Off-peak.
Huh?
Off-peak.
No. My rate all month, my water heater runs from 9 at night to 7 in the morning.
Okay.
So I get an off-peak rate all month.
I got you.
But my concern is I tried to opt out. Did anybody test that program online? Because I'll tell you, it's not working smoothly. Because when you try to opt out, you hit submit at the bottom, and it just sits there. And you do it again, and it tells, then until you scroll to the top, it doesn't say what's wrong. It just says your information is valid. I know my name, I know my address, I know the code on this. Until you go to look at your electric bill and do zip +4, it won't let you opt out. That's a problem. And I think that needs to be addressed. And I also am concerned about the confirmation email that came then. It's a joke because it says I opted out of Upper Arlington. I'd like to know why it's telling me I'm opting out of Upper Arlington and not Gahanna.
100%.
So to me, we have some gaps in the program here that make me a little concerned. Thank you.
And I'm happy to take both your concerns directly to AEP first thing in the morning, so we will get you an answer on why the website is not working to the level of satisfaction we'd like it to, so. That would again be a coding issue on AEP Energy's problem, so I will confirm with them why that's happening and we'll get it corrected immediately. So, thank you for bringing it up. I will say Upper Arlington is one of our member communities, so my guess is that they didn't change all the coding when they should have, so they've been saving money with us now for a little over maybe a year and a half, but I will address that with AEP Energy first thing in the morning. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi. May I have a couple of questions that I was carrying since a couple of days?
Sure.
We have this. So one aspect is the common sense and financial. The other aspect is based on principle, which is 90% for my personal way of life. So I am concerned of both, and I'd like to know both. So number one of the financial part. So after 6 months, fixed date, to be truthful, I would feel a little more trustful if it was a year, not 6 months. I know it's coming the heat season, but there is also air condition season. So why is only 6 months? And what power they have, whatever they can do after?
Say that
All
last
due
part.
respect to the gentleman. Whatever they can do after, I am curious what are the limitations financially in that point.
So the
I
reason
was-
why your first question, the reason why
Yes.
we sent it at 6 months was to.
Only
was to-
6 months, and what happens at every end of term
Correct.
in terms of what can Gahanna fight for us? Because it seems a little bit to me, it's almost like an insurance in medical
Correct.
things, that if you are alone, even if you have coverage here and there, the insurance can also argue about the bill. And when you are, not only not all of them you pay, but they have a better bill in the end.
Correct.
So I feel this
So-
is the situation. The principal questions are related to a couple of things.
Can I answer
that-
your first question real quick, so I don't forget it?
As long as I can ask the other.
Yeah, absolutely. You're good. You're good. Corey won't steal the mic from you. We promise. The reason why we set the 6-month term was one, so that residents can begin to see savings nearly immediately, and then when we at the conclusion of that 6 months, that's when we'll go with our SOPEC partners. We'll establish another rate, and that term is likely to be much longer, likely to be 12 months. We don't necessarily like going more than 12 months in my head. Like when I do this on my own and for myself, I never go more than 12 months because the market is as variable as it is. I want my options, right? We want to save those same options and make those same options available to you folks at that particular point in time. So as we get closer to June, in a May timeframe, we'll be establishing another rate for a longer term. The nice thing about our program is that you folks don't have to actually do anything in order to continue to participate inside of our program. You will receive that next rate. That rate is always going to be, our goal would be for that rate to always be a competitive rate against the price to compare. And then when we also start beginning and talking about the AEP capacity charges and such, if those capacity charges happen in January, as an example, you will continue to see that savings all the way till June. So now go with your next questions.
If I could expand on the first one, just add a little more insight on that, because 6 months does seem weird, and I'll explain why we're doing that. So the capacity auction prices are going to kick in next June, across the board, whether you're in aggregation, whether you're in a standard service offer. The utility supply year goes from June to June every year. So that price is locked in, and they have their own auctions to where they buy power supply. So we know roughly what that rate's going to be until June of next year. We have less insight at what it's going to be beyond that. And for you guys to have locked in, there would have been a huge risk premium, and your rate would have been much higher in the short term. Versus that 6 months, we know we can have guaranteed savings. My lawyer's not here, but estimated savings against the market based on what AEP Energy is already locked in at. It's going to vary a little bit, or AEP Ohio rather. It's going to vary a little bit on their rate. Ours is going to stay the same. Ours will not change until June. AEP Energy is going to fluctuate, or AEP Ohio, excuse me, is going to fluctuate ever so slightly through the course the first 6 months of next year. But we'll have a competitive opportunity to go against the next market cycle come June of next year accordingly, because we're going to be syncing up with everybody else that's in our programs, and then also looking at the new supply years and apples-to-apples comparison, and not trying to blend two different supply years that have very different pricing for capacity.
So this saving is like total. It's not like just one part of the three and then together it's not saving, but you guarantee that it's all together will be saving.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the principal question, they are morefold, not just one. So number one, I follow what's going on in Ohio. I am a 30-year resident of Ohio, lived in other states before, and I am obviously not from America. So when there was the big thing about the power situation, the nucleo, and Larry Householder and something, I got very skeptical. And every time I saw people on the street wanting to go with the renewable energy, I turned around and I just stayed with my expensive AEP. I am not sure if I like it, what they do, but I just couldn't trust anything. So in this one, I already had my, everything up. Then yesterday, luckily, I got the other letter that tells me it's all wind energy. I am very sorry for the birds in terms of wind, because wind is even an issue. I think solar is the only thing that doesn't kill anybody. But wind is not nuclear. It's not the same thing that was already, racketeering stuff. So I feel better, but I just want to be 100% sure that this is really all wind. We will always know where it exactly comes from and what those people stand for and where they sponsor what. Because I don't want to sponsor anything that is not helping Earth, animals, and people. Everybody can think what they want. I don't care. That's how I like to see in the mirror.
So you would want to stay in the 100% renewable category here and not call?
I mean, 95 would do, but I want good intention. I
Let-
want to know that Gahanna went
I
for
got you.
it, because I feel that went for it to help people.
Nuclear
Because
energy-
People couldn't pay the AEP stuff anymore.
Ma'am.
So Gahanna sought to help us. I hope this is all true, and I want this all be true, but just let me know. That's it.
Yes, ma'am. You want to stay in the 100% renewable class here that I show on this, I don't show it on the screen right now, I changed my screen. Because that's where nuclear energy, coal energy, anything else that you're talking about as it relates to the environment could potentially be part of the traditional rate option that I show. I'm trying to get back to it on this particular screen here. So if you do nothing, you're in the 100% class, and then you are buying 100% renewable RECs, energy credits at that particular point, and those are going to come from wind, solar, and any other renewable energy source where electric is being produced.
Yours will be wind and solar.
Say that again?
No, we do not. So I can actually add some clarity. I'll let the council vouch for our green attributes, but I can say that there are 100 communities in the entire country that have EPA Green Power Award status. So the EPA has very stringent standards on what they consider green power. 1/5 of those communities are SOPEC member communities, and all of them in Ohio are our member communities. So we're relying on their guidance. For you guys, it's going to be all wind and solar. A few of our communities have chosen hydro as well, but it's all going to be wind and solar for you guys, and it'll meet that standard to where a year from now, you guys will also have giant road signs saying you're an EPA Green Power member community. So we do that external validation. One thing I like to say about our organization as an entity too, and this was council's decision, we are a council of governments. We are government. So the other things you're talking to as far as transparency and credibility, I'll rely on council to speak to that and the administration, but we are very much governed by the communities we serve. We're beholden to them, and I can also tell you personally, I was at the State House testifying against House Bill 6 when that was happening. So we very much care about the things you're talking about and value those principles and want to be a positive partner in helping our communities transition to clean energy and what we all consider to be truly clean energy and shared values with our communities.
Ma'am, can we go to a different question and then we can have some one-on-one? Can we have one-on-one time afterwards? Corey, there's a couple guys. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Yes, sir.
The question I have is, my house is solar, but without a battery backup. What's the effect on net metering?
I love this question. So we were actually the first aggregator in the state to allow net metering, and it's going to be the exact same, effectively same formula. So you're going to be reimbursed at the same rate that the aggregation rate is, at a 1-to-1 ratio. you will see no difference. Now, you're not going to get the retail credit that you would have been if you were at the SSO because it's a higher rate, but that one-to-one offset is going to remain the same. So our credit is going to transfer to one credit. We made sure that was a priority for us as well, and encouraging folks to embrace distributed generation.
Mr. Renner?
Sorry. I just wanted to actually go back a little bit and actually dovetail with Luke of SOPAC and actually reiterate for the record, and ma'am, to assure you, this is all real. The energy markets actually are full, especially on the new renewable side. There is a little bit of hanky-panky that's actually going on with them. And one of the things that actually did impress us on council is that, and the administration, is that how SOPEC actually works. What markets do they actually work in the energy markets, and in particular with the renewable energy credits? Because as Luke actually said, they actually only go for and only buy the energy certified RECs. And these are actually higher value RECs. Actually, they're higher value in the market because they have that certification that they are coming directly from renewable sources. So yes, thank you. And the other thing I wanted to add to a little bit with this is that the city is not gaining anything at all by doing this. We're actually gaining something for the residents because we knew and we saw the energy failures of the markets that are coming. The high prices that are coming, they are, and they're very real. And so we wanted to actually act in front of that. And so we got a really good advice from PCFO and from SOPEC to deal with that. The markets are going to fluctuate. There's going to be auctions next year in March, and we will see where everybody goes. But this program is not your father's aggregation. It's not the aggregation program of the year. I've been a longtime Gahanna resident, and I do remember the aggregation with IGS, and this is not that program. And the really big telltale sign of this program is that you can opt in and opt out as many times as you want, and there is no cost to you.
Ma'am?
Thank you.
Is SOPEC responsible for the solar panels that are being put on farmland throughout Ohio?
No, they're not an electrical generator. So those are the AEP energy type companies, other generators of electrical power. SOPEC doesn't generate electric.
All right. Ooh, yeah, you can hear me. Perfect. Donnie Murray, Gahanna resident here, and this is Connor and Elliot. They're assisting me tonight. Quick question. Let me make sure I understand this right. So if I'm on the AEP standard rate and I do nothing because I'm lazy, and most consumers don't really look at their electricity bill, I'm going to save money and I'm going to help contribute to a healthy environment for me and my children. But if I don't like it, I can just opt out and go somewhere else. Is that correct?
You probably could have saved me 55 minutes. Yes, sir.
All right. I'm out of here. Thank you.
Hi. I just have one question. Earlier, you said come June 2025, you said that we would get an opt-out notice again with the new rates. So you'll get another notice like this one of the new rates, just because in the terms and condition, it said it'd be posted. My phone left me here. Sorry.
It says June 26 on the terms and conditions.
Well, it says that at the end, after June 2025 meter read date, SOPEC will publish or otherwise make available to you the applicable price with respect. So I just didn't know it was going to be another opt-out
Yes,
notice.
it is
and
100,
that's
every
what it's
time
gonna
we
be.
set a rate, there's another opt-out letter that you folks receive for another choice to make. I'm going to have to defer.
So we will confirm on that exact, because there has been some ambiguity on that within a shortened term, because normally it's within 12 months. You guys are what we would consider a bridge period into a longer term. At very minimum, we will be publishing it on the council's website with you guys, obviously. And then there'll be regular refresh letters going out to individuals. So folks who are not in the program, maybe change addresses, those will be happening typically on a quarterly basis. So as to whether there'll be a new opt-out letter 6 months from now, I think that's something we need to get clarity on, whether it's going to happen or not. I think that's a good question.
And then when it will be posted, how far in advance?
Yeah, and anytime we're doing it, it's going to be filed with the PUCO, and so they have a chance to review it. It'll be posted on their website. So if you dig in the docket, you can see all the historic letters. But absolutely. So, but I think at minimum, we'll be working with the city to make sure that it's posted on the city's website. And again, one thing I really appreciate that we've always run our program, at least in my tenure, is that if you miss that 21-day window, which is meant to protect consumers, there's no penalty on day 22. You opt out on day 22, maybe you get enrolled with us for the first month, but if you opt out beyond that 21 days, there's no fee to opt out. Historically, some programs have charged you a penalty. You miss 21 days, there's an opt-out fee. That is not the case. So if you opt out on day 30, day 35, there's no fee.
So how early will we know that new rate? If you're talking about March, what's the earliest we would know? Also, if we have a power outage, how does that affect? I mean, is it still governed by AEP? Because
So
I'm
AEP
sure they're fixing the lines.
Correct. AEP Ohio and the folks who get electric to your door do not change one bit.
Okay.
Right? So if a power line is impacted on your particular street, the AEP Ohio is going to come and fix that line and reestablish power. If your neighboring street is out, but you're on the aggregation program, you're going to see no impact as far as your electricity to your front door goes. Your first question was, refresh my memory, I'm sorry.
How early will we know
How early?
the new rate?
I would think that we would be setting a new rate. You had that 21-day opt-out window. I would think that we'll probably end up seeing a new rate in late April, early May.
Yeah, I'd say practically speaking, no later than mid-spring, because there's several filing requirements as it relates to regulatory requirements. So probably at the absolute latest, it's going to be mid-spring.
Okay, is there going to be another way to opt out besides online, or is it you're only going to be able to opt out online?
You can call the 1-800 number that's on the notice, and you can also fill out the slip that's on your notice and return that to AEP Energy, and they'll opt you out too.
Okay.
You'll see that on the notice when you receive it in the mail.
You're with AEP, right?
Nope.
You?
Nope.
Okay.
These gentlemen are from SOPEC.
Okay. 1 year ago, did your guys' electric get turned off due to load concerns? Just yes or no, that's all I want to know. Does anybody remember that? Yeah. Okay. And mysteriously, select areas of the city stayed on, had higher income rates than where everybody else got turned off. Now, that's in the past. Now I'm going to ask you a question. Why should I continually ride opt-in, opt-out merry-go-round every time you guys want to set a rate? Should I not? Should it be easier and more effective, more sensible to opt-in or opt-out at my convenience, not your convenience?
I think as we answered already, I think we're going to figure out whether or not you have to opt out a second time or not. I think that is an unanswered question from the woman behind you who just asked it. It would make, I believe that, I think you're right. I think it would make more sense, but mechanically, we don't have that answer this evening.
Well, I can answer that one. As a practice, we've made it a practice that if you opt out, we're not going to re-enroll you. So we've just made that a practice, because obviously folks who...
Obviously didn't say that, and then, you're saying you're bantering back.
Well, we were talking about the letters before, but as it relates to letters, we still have to get clarity on that. But as you opting out, we've made it a policy decision for folks who opt out to not be re-enrolled. We will go ahead and just exclude them for the remainder of the term.
Now, this last cycle of bills in the last year,
You're on the standard AEP Ohio rate. We can't speak to what without seeing your bill, I don't know that we can speak directly to why your bill went up by 30%. What we're trying to do in this particular program is save you a certain percentage. While we don't think that we can save you 30%, we're going to save you a certain percentage, and that is the reality of the program. I do know that we're a couple minutes long. I think we have time for one more question, Corey. Sir?
Yep. Michael, I'm a Gahanna resident. So first of all, I want to say thank you all for doing this. Renewable energy is really important. We need to start doing more to mitigate human-caused climate change. So this is really promising for me to hear. But my question is, do we know where the energy is actually coming from? Is it coming from a solar farm in Ohio? Is it coming from a wind farm in Texas? Do we know?
Yeah, I'm going to give you a much longer answer than you want, and I'll try to keep it brief. So energy is actually sold in different components. So there's the base energy, which goes to the grid. So that is, think of it as a giant bucket of water. You don't know where those drops came from, or an ATM where the money may have come in. So that's one bucket. Secondly are the renewable attributes, or what we've been calling the RECs. We do know exactly where those go to, because those specific RECs get retired. So renewable assets produce RECs in addition to power. So we have a specific registration that goes with those. They retire them into a system so they can't be double counted somewhere else. Now, as it relates to our program, the most cost-effective way for us to get renewable energy, the planet doesn't care where we're making it. We care where the dollars are being spent from an equity standpoint. Most of it's coming from Texas, Oklahoma wind right now, because that's the most cost-effective renewable energy that meets our standards that we have currently. So effectively, that's where most of it's coming from in our programs at this point. We would like to see it generated locally as much as possible. We are not there yet, and Ohio is much more expensive to produce renewable energy at present.
So I'd just like to end with, before I turn it back over to the mayor and Mr. Renner for closing remarks, I'd just like to, hopefully this is behind me, it's not for some reason, there it is. Our website, gahanna.gov /CCA/, this is our website that take you to Gahanna Energy Plus. On here, you'll find a whole lot of material as it relates to our program, with the rates, the terms, so on and so forth, what the standard rate to compare is, where you can find links as it relates to Energy Ohio, so that you can potentially select your own supplier. The video that we showed earlier is also on here. What is community aggregation? What steps has Gahanna taken? What's an opt-out community aggregation program? And I think probably what's most helpful and most important is all of the conversations that City Council has had in regards to this particular program are listed here with all of the legislation, this particular town hall presentation, so on and so forth. You can watch those meetings. They time automatically to them on YouTube, so on and so forth. You can see every presentation that the administration has given to council and all of the council remarks and all of the public comment that's been done as it relates to community choice aggregation in the Gahanna Energy Plus program. I'd like to personally thank you guys for your time and your attention. It's not often that we get a room full of folks who want to come and engage with us. This is an enjoyable part of my day. So thank you. So with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Renner.
Yes, I really want to pick up where Kevin left off. This is local government, and one of the most joys is actually being engaged with voters and hearing your concerns. And so definitely, even though sometimes it might be hard and it's terse and you're going to disagree with us or me, it's more powerful actually at the heart of it for you to actually be able to be here and actually voice that concern. We actually heard some very good concerns about the program, about how it's initiated, and we're definitely going to take that back. So thank you very much. It's not just a voice, but it's also a sincere thanks. Also, I want to thank the administration, Kevin and Corey, and Mayor, you have been very supportive of us on council and this program. We're taking a leadership in a new direction, and very, very thankful for that. So thank you. And I also want to thank my colleagues on council, Marissa Bowers. She definitely wanted to be here, but she couldn't. But I definitely want to recognize again Councilman Trenton Weaver, and then Councilwoman Jamil Jones has actually joined us as well. And thank you.
Thank you and I will keep my comments short because we're already over time. We will stay around for other questions, one-on-one questions as well. We'll be here. Just want to remind you, again, not to beat the dead horse, but do want to, again, reiterate our thanks for showing up here this evening. This is what government is supposed to do. Please understand, this is a program that was created to help residents. You can choose not to participate in it. It's fine. And one of the reasons why I think council chose to go with SOPIC, and one of the reasons why we, as the administration, recommended SOPIC after going through all of the responses that we had received, was because of the flexibility and the ease of choosing to participate and choosing not to participate. You can opt in, you can opt out, you can opt in, opt out as many times as you want to as that market fluctuates. It's going to fluctuate whether or not you're in this program. We had a 12 o'clock town hall, and we actually had a resident that stood up and she said, look, the burden is on us to pay attention to what our markets are doing, what our bills are doing, what our rates are doing, and to then take what action that we need to take. So hopefully by this conversation tonight, you see that really what we're trying to do here is not to force something on you, but to create an opportunity for you to save money in your electric rates and also pursue some of the sustainability initiatives that we have with regard to renewable energy, reducing carbon emissions, I know Councilman Renner mentioned before, et cetera. A couple of ways to stay informed. So I know I hear a lot from residents about, I don't get the newspaper anymore, I don't know I don't know what's going on. I understand that. So we try as many ways as we can to share information. I know there were some questions about how are we going to know what the rate is, later in March or April when that time rolls around. So a couple of different ways. We do have social media, obviously the website Kevin just shared, there's a whole page that is based on this program. A couple of other things that you can do is you can sign up to receive e-newsletters that come. We do a monthly newsletter that comes directly to your inbox. You can sign up to receive agendas for meetings when we're going to have public discussions. Those agendas will come to you. Based on the conversation we had at noon today, one of the things that we're going to add is an email alert option on this program specifically. Right now, you can sign up to receive email alerts if you, for example, if you like to go to the pools in the summer and you want to get an alert when the pool's closed, you can sign up and you will get an alert. Or if you want an alert on a construction project, you can get that. We will add this program to that as well. So that way, when there's news, such as a new rate that needs to come out or any kind of information on this program, you will get an alert that goes right to your email. You can do that online at gahanna.gov. And the other thing is, one of the things we try to do is check, if you get your water bill in the mail, we now include a newsletter in there because that's the one piece of mail everybody gets and hopefully everybody opens is your water bill. So we put that newsletter in there as well as to share information with you. But again, just want to thank you. We will continue to share information with you as many ways as we can. Thank you for being here, for being engaged, and